Picture the Great Lakes, vast, beautiful, and sometimes incredibly deadly. We're talking about the largest group of freshwater lakes on Earth, holding over a fifth of the world's fresh water. They're so massive, they act like inland oceans, creating their own weather, like the famous lake effect snow. But in November 1913, they brewed something far more terrifying. This is the story of the White Hurricane, a storm of epic proportions, and the incredible fight for survival aboard the LC Waldo. It's November 1913. Weather forecasting is a world away from what we have today. Forecasters relied on hand-drawn maps and telegraph reports. Warnings were posted using flags at ports, but on the fast-changing Great Lakes, this system was often dangerously slow. Information that was hours old could be a death sentence for sailors caught in a sudden squall. On November 7th, the steamer LC Waldo left port under calm skies. Its captain, John W. Duddleson, and his crew had no idea they were sailing directly into a meteorological monster. Out on the lake, two powerful low-pressure systems were on a collision course. One was coming up from the American South, warm and moist. The other was a cold, dry mass of Arctic air sweeping down from Canada. When they met over the Great Lakes, they didn't just clash. They merged, creating a weather bomb, a cyclonic storm with all the fury of a tropical hurricane. The storm exploded over the lakes with blinding snow, freezing spray, and winds that howled like a banshee. Wind speeds reached the equivalent of a Category 1 hurricane, whipping up waves as high as 11 meters or 35 feet. Imagine a 3-story building made of water, relentlessly crashing down on your ship. The air temperature plummeted, and the blizzard conditions created a whiteout, making navigation impossible. The storm raged for 4 days, a relentless assault on anything and anyone caught in its path. Aboard the LC Waldo, the situation was desperate. Tossed mercilessly by the colossal waves, the ship was taking a severe beating. Then, the worst happened. The rudder, the ship's only means of steering, was torn away. Adrift and powerless, the Waldo was at the complete mercy of the storm. It was then slammed against the jagged rocks of Manitou Island, tearing a hole in its hull. The ship was breaking apart, and the monstrous waves threatened to drag the crippled vessel out into the open, unforgiving waters of Lake Superior, where it would surely be lost with all hands. Captain Duddleson, a seasoned veteran of the lakes, faced an impossible choice. Let the storm take them, or try something else. He made a decision that would either save them all or seal their doom. He ordered the engines to run full steam ahead, deliberately grounding the LC Waldo on a reef near Gull Rock. It was a massive gamble, but it was their only chance to anchor the ship and prevent it from being swallowed by the lake. The impact was violent. The ship shuddered and groaned as its steel hull scraped against the rock. Moments later, a massive wave crashed over the stern, ripping the entire back half of the ship, including the cabins and galley, clean off. It simply vanished into the churning white chaos. The 22 crewmen, plus the cook's wife and her mother, were now trapped on the forward section of the wreck, exposed to the full fury of the hurricane. They scrambled to the only shelter left, a small, unheated room in the bow of the ship, known as the windlass room. Huddled together for warmth, soaked to the bone in freezing water, their situation was grim. They had no food, no dry clothes, and the storm showed no signs of letting up. The temperature was well below freezing, and hypothermia was a very real and immediate threat. They were stranded, battered, and utterly alone. But in the face of despair, human ingenuity sparked. The crew scavenged what they could from the wreckage. They found a metal bathtub, flipped it upside down, and managed to turn it into a makeshift stove. They fed it with wood from the ship's paneling and any other combustibles they could find. This small, flickering fire became their lifeline. It was a beacon of hope in the freezing darkness, a source of warmth that kept them from succumbing to the cold. For 90 agonizing hours, they huddled around their makeshift stove, rationing their meager resources and praying for a rescue that seemed impossible. Meanwhile, word of the disaster was slowly reaching shore. Rescue stations at Eagle Harbor and Portage scrambled to act, but the storm was just as ferocious for Tories. Life-saving crews, brave volunteers, attempted to launch their boats, but the waves were so immense they were thrown back time and time again. The sea was a maelstrom of ice and water, and any rescue attempt was a suicide mission. For days, they could only watch and wait, helpless, as the storm raged on. As they drew closer, they saw signs of life. The exhausted, frost-bitten survivors emerged from their cramped shelter. Getting them off the wreck was another harrowing challenge. The rescue boat had to navigate the treacherous wave-swept reef, timing its approaches between the crushing waves. One by one, the survivors were brought aboard the tug. In a testament to their incredible resilience and the captain's fateful decision, all 24 people, and even the ship's dog, were saved. The story of the LC Waldo is a miracle of survival, but for many others, a happy ending was not to be. The White Hurricane of 1913 was the deadliest and most destructive natural disaster in the history of the Great Lakes. When the storm finally passed, the full scale of the devastation was revealed. At least 19 ships were completely destroyed, sent to the bottom of the lakes. Another 19 were grounded or severely damaged. The human cost was staggering, with an estimated 250 people losing their lives, both on the water and on land. The economic damage was immense, totaling nearly $5 million at the time, which is equivalent to almost $150 million today. Modern meteorological simulations have since confirmed the sheer power of this storm. It wasn't just a bad gale. For many hours, the Great Lakes truly endured hurricane conditions. The White Hurricane served as a brutal wake-up call, leading to significant improvements in weather forecasting, ship construction, and maritime communication. It's a somber reminder of the raw power of nature and a tribute to the sailors who braved these inland oceans. The survival of everyone aboard the LC Waldo stands as a timeless story of leadership, ingenuity, and the unyielding will to live against all odds. Thanks for watching. If you found this story of survival and history fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into incredible events. See you in the next video.